What if there was an invisible, insidious force stopping you from getting what you truly desire? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the #1 killer of many people's desires and what's stopping them from bringing actual physical things into their reality. And the ending actually might surprise you. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. Manifestation. Bringing things into your reality or attracting abundance magnetically. What does it take? Well, part of it we know is, visualization. Thinking positively, all the new age stuff that's been told to people time and again. And it can be frustrating when, you or other people try this only for it to not work, right? You tend to lose faith in these methods. But that's because there's an underlying cause that's actually stopping things from coming into your reality. Even if you may be doing the right things, you're taking the right steps towards your goals. You're actually taking action, which is the most important part. And I experienced this personally through my journey when I had to navigate PTSD after I left my job as a paramedic. And I couldn't figure out why I was trying so hard to find my purpose and to bring more material abundance into my reality, but it just wasn't coming. No matter what I would do, things just weren't working out. And I began to lose faith, and it can put you in a place of desperation. If you've never been to this channel, this will be important. Everything you do starts with this, whether you subconsciously acknowledge it or not. This is the acronym that I want you to remember. This is called BETDAR. This is a process of not only understanding how your beliefs shape reality, but understanding the process itself of going backwards and sort of finding these things that are shaping our reality. Beliefs, everything starts with a belief. Whether we consciously acknowledge beliefs or we subconsciously acknowledge beliefs. And I'm going to get to the subconscious part here in a second, because that is one of the more underlying causes here of what causes this resistance in your life. Beliefs will create emotions, which then will create thoughts, right? Thought forms. Everything in, God or the universe or source, whatever you may believe. But this formless substance that creates this reality, that's able to bring things into this reality, starts with our emotion. Think of the word emotion, energy in motion. Have you ever had a day when you're really frustrated and things just don't seem to be working out for you? And then more negative things happen, maybe something really bad happened to you at work, and you're just like fuming, right? That guy pissed you off. And you're driving home and someone just cuts you off, gives you the finger, and rips off into the sunset. And you just feel like you got like shit on, right? That is because you had negative energy in your field. You were projecting negative thought forms, and the universe will always give you what you desire, right? So in that moment, even though you consciously can't acknowledge it, you desired more frustration. That's what you were projecting out there. That's what you got back. So at a high level, BETDAR is sort of a way of understanding how our thoughts create, then we make decisions based on those thoughts, which we then take action towards, and then results, right? That's kind of the process. And we go through this over and over again, probably go through this process like thousands of times in a day, maybe even more. So what is it then if the beliefs form the basis of our reality? They have the ability to create emotions, which then is able to actually shape our reality around us. Why is it that we can't get what we want even though we're thinking positively? Even though we worked on our beliefs and we have good beliefs now about where we're at, and we're taking decisions towards things we actually care about in a very positive way, yet things still aren't coming. Well, because this story has two sides to it here. There's a subconscious side to this belief story. You have your conscious beliefs, right? Conscious, that's 10% of our mind. Subconscious, this is 90%. This governs our life. This is subconscious programming that runs our life. And we have to go through the process of reprogramming it. One of the most profound beliefs that you'll have that are at the core of your being, that will be the hardest to address, but are also the most reality shifting, perspective shifting beliefs that you can have an effect on, is your childhood beliefs. We've talked about it on the channel before, but everything is vibration. Everything is vibrating, from this pen to my hands to the house that I'm in, everything is vibrating at a certain frequency. And including us, especially us, because we are electromagnetic beings. And at a young age, we're very impressionable. Think about the process of creating a record. If you've ever listened to a record before, there's little grooves in the record. These grooves are etched with a specific vibration around the disc, and then a needle follows these grooves to create a certain sound that then gets projected through your record player. So this record disc, think of that as your childhood. And when things happen to you in childhood that are perceived as negative or even could be very traumatic, these engrave themselves as part of your record disc, your belief record disc. And these get deeply ingrained as part of your subconscious programming. Now, if you have negative beliefs, if you grew up in a household that, for example, told you money was evil, and time and time again this was reinforced throughout your childhood, you're gonna have this deep-seated belief. Even though now you're older, you've chosen new beliefs, you're gonna have this deep-seated belief, like grooves in this record, that reinforce the fact that money is in fact evil. And time and again, even though you've consciously chosen that money is good, I'm worthy of abundance, you have these subconscious beliefs that are still there, that until you actually address them are not actually going to be resolved. And so when these traumatic incidents happen to you, when these negative frequencies are ingrained in your childhood, it can get engraved in your psyche in 3 ways. And I call this the trauma triad. This is something that I really had to confront as I was going through my PTSD, because my world perception was so messed up. I've been a paramedic for about 8 years, and highway search and rescue as well. And my perception of reality had really shifted to the point where I didn't even know what life was anymore, honestly. And this is what I had to address. So this is the trauma triad. This is something I kind of created. These are the 3 things that get affected by trauma. Especially in childhood, these get deeply ingrained in your sense of being. The first one is trust. Your sense of trusting yourself, as well as trusting others, right? Trusting yourself is actually trusting reality, because we are the creators of our own reality. So if we don't trust ourselves on a deeply subconscious level, that can, make us not trust anything we're doing, anything we're putting out there on a very deep level. Power, our struggles with power, our self-empowerment, and also how we deal with power around us, right? Life is, in a sense, a power game, especially if you're out there trying to, for example, build a business or build something material in this world. There's no doubt you're going to come up against some sort of power struggle, either internally or externally, and that can really affect your ability to bring things into physical reality, into physical manifestation. And the last one is control. When things happen to us in childhood, it can actually affect our ability to we'll either want to over control everything in our lives, or we'll abdicate all our responsibilities and push control on everybody else. Like everybody else can control me. And the vast majority of us, actually, if you're watching this, you're probably not in this category, but the vast majority of people are actually controlled. I mean, we've seen that even over the last, not very recent, right? Like 4 or 5 years, we've seen this, that many people have actually abdicated their responsibilities to the government, to their employers, to forces outside of themselves, and consider themselves only a cog in a wheel. That they no longer need to have any sort of self-responsibility for their own life, and essentially have given away not only their power and their trust, but also their sense of control over their own lives. And so this theme can keep coming up throughout your adulthood if you struggled with any of these 3 things here. And let me know in the comments below, have you struggled with any of these 3 things in the triad from maybe something traumatic that happened to you a long time ago? Now the universe or God, right, only requires one thing from you to give you whatever you want. And this triad totally removes that. It is trust. In the more religious circles, people will say it's faith, right? Faith is a deep form of trust. And in non-religious circles and spiritual circles, people call it trust. You must trust the universe to get you what you need, what you want. And that's gonna block your ability to do that. And so think about this. How do we actually get past this? How do we actually go through the process of reprogramming your subconscious mind? Because if we have these negative beliefs about ourselves, it doesn't matter what kind of work we're doing, moving forward. In our past life, previous years of life, we have these deeply ingrained things in our record. There's actually science around this. There's something called morphic fields, which I created another video on quite some time ago. But they've done research showing that our beliefs actually create vibrational imprints in our own, like our electromagnetic projection from our heart. There's actually imprints from childhood, from negative trauma, and it's called the morphic field or heart field. I don't know, have you ever heard of heart coherence? This is the ability for your heart to sync up with the electromagnetic waves of your brain. And when you do this and create a heart-mind connection, you actually get access to the right side of the brain. This is the 90% that I'm talking about. And that brings me to my next point, is the process of reprogramming. Because if we don't reprogram it, that beautiful flower that you're trying to grow, whether it be a car or a house or a family or a new relationship, is going to get choked out by these weeds, these old bad beliefs that are going to choke it out and not let these new beliefs thrive and flourish. So what you need to do is we need to find a key, right? In the Bible, even it says, the kingdom of God is within you. But where are the keys to the kingdom? We need to get into the kingdom, right? Well, meditation does something really special, unlike anything else that you can actually do to access the right side of the brain. And it's accessed through your pineal gland, actually. So this is a very small rice grain-like gland that sits between your two eyes, also known as the third eye, as the center of intuition, the sixth sense, and also this ability to interface with higher realms, information beyond time and space. So your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful. And in accessing it, we can actually start to rewrite the code, rewrite the programming that's in there, that bad programming from childhood, and rewrite it. And when we acknowledge new beliefs and bring this new programming into our reality, that's when it creates the right substrate for these new beliefs to flourish, to actually manifest into physical reality. So we're going to do this by meditation. And in the process of meditation, you're going to figure out where your blocks are. So we have different spheres of consciousness in our body, and each one corresponds to the triad in one way or another. But you basically have 1, 2, 3, and you have your heart, 1, 2, 3. You basically have 7 centers of consciousness in your body that are responsible for different aspects of your life. And in meditation, you're going to start to become more self-aware of your body and know where these blocks actually are in your body. So for example, if you feel blockage here, this would be your center of power. Solar plexus. That is where you could, in meditation, meditate on that area. And this does correspond to physical things in your body too, by the way. If you have a specific illness you're dealing with, if you have pains, chronic pains in parts of your body, that can be huge. When I was going through my whole journey, I used to get chronic back pain right between my 2 shoulder blades, and I used to actually get achiness right under here, right underneath where my heart is, right? And I tried everything, physiotherapy, acupuncture, like I did all kinds of stuff. And it would temporarily get relieved, but then those muscles would guard right up again. They'd keep doing that until I actually had to address my struggles with my heart-mind connection, my struggles with my connection to myself and my connections with others, my ability to love others. And what were the underlying beliefs that were causing me to tense up like that? I'd done some really incredibly bad calls that had really warped my sense of reality, and I kind of just shoved it down and moved on with my life. That manifested as sort of a tightness. And of course, there can be medical reasons, but there's a deep correlation here that when this tightness was there, actually meditating on it and connecting with that pain, thoughts would come up, emotions would come up. I remember one meditation I did, I got very emotional. I started crying, and I started thinking about some things that happened to me in childhood that I had to deal with, like bullying, stuff like that. And when I dealt with that, that's when I start to actually heal and feel lighter, and my realities start to change, my perspectives start to change, and really incredibly spontaneous things just start happening to me. It's almost like, you know, if you're at a pool and you push like a volleyball down to the bottom of the pool, as soon as that resistance is lifted, as soon as that weight is lifted off, it shoots up and you're going to get all this great stuff that comes into your life. This is the key here to accessing the 90%, is when you meditate, you'll start to feel where the blockages are in your body. You'll start to get those whispers of the mind that oftentimes get you know, shut down, and they get removed from our conscious minds. So this is where we give our bodies and minds an opportunity to be quiet. And you don't need to do anything special for meditation. You know, I have a couple meditations on my channel that I'll plug down below. Bob Proctor also has a great abundance meditation that I like. I'll plug that down below. But if you don't want to do any of these things, just sit quietly in a room with your thoughts and observe the thoughts as they come up, like an observer sitting on the side of a highway watching the thoughts as cars go by. And as the thoughts come up, you can let them go. As the thoughts come up, you can let them go. And eventually, after doing this for long enough, you know, when you first try doing it, you might be able to do it for 5 minutes. But as these thoughts keep coming up, you will actually find that there'll be a sense of emptiness at the end where there's no thoughts. And in that void is when you'll get these little whispers of the mind, where you'll start to really get this wisdom that sounds like you, but is not from you. And you'll consciously acknowledge this. And this will be the guiding light to help you towards your shifting your beliefs and addressing your traumas. Another way here is actually the reverse of that. So we talked about the BETDAR at the start, right? That the D stands for decisions and the A stands for taking action. So if you actually just choose new beliefs and you start acting on those beliefs and acting as if you're already in that reality, acting as if you're already that version of you, triggers will start coming up because now you're fighting your subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is now wrestling with your subconscious saying, hey, wait, what are you doing? We have an autopilot program running here. This is what we normally do. And you're consciously doing what we're not programmed to do. So triggers will come up. You'll start feeling very emotional out of nowhere. You'll start getting triggered. And my saying is let the triggers be the guides. Try and follow that trigger back. What does that trigger represent to you symbolically? What is that symbol of, either control, power, or trust? These are the three main themes. Does this symbol of what this trigger represents, does it line up with any of those? And slowly start kind of like a breadcrumb trail following it back. And you will get these realizations over time. So with that being said, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And until next time, peace.